It was 3 a.m. at a lonely gas station off I-7 near Kansas City. The kind of place where the lights flicker, the coffee tastes burnt, and the wrong people come out at the wrong time. William Hammer Davidson had been writing for 12 hours straight, still numb from his brother's funeral, when he walked into the bathroom to splash water on his face. That's when he heard it. A man's voice through the thin wall of the women's restroom. "I'll give you 1,500. She's damaged goods, tracks on her arms." Another voice laughed. $2,000. She's young. 14, maybe 15. Still profitable. Hammer froze. His blood turned to ice. Then a fourth voice, small, terrified, shaking. "Please, please, my mom's looking for me. Just let me call her." A loud slap echoed through the wall. 5,000, someone said. "Final offer. I'll take her to Denver. She'll be working by sunrise." Hammer stared at his own reflection in the mirror. He had maybe 7 seconds to choose. Walk away like everyone else did, or step into the kind of darkness most people pretend doesn't exist. 7 seconds. To save a girl he'd never met, or die trying. William Hammer Davidson wasn't the kind of man who scared easily. 22 years riding with the Iron Wolves Motorcycle Club had shown him enough darkness to last a lifetime. But tonight was different. He just buried his older brother in Colorado, the only family he had left. He rode straight for 12 hours, no sleep, no real food. Just the roar of his engine and the weight of grief sitting on his chest. When he saw the gas station exit glowing in the distance, he pulled off the highway out of pure exhaustion. He needed gas. He needed coffee. He needed a moment to breathe. Hammer wasn't thinking about saving anyone. He wasn't thinking about danger. He wasn't even thinking clearly at all. He just walked into that bathroom because his hands were shaking and his eyes were burning from the road. He had no idea that fate, or maybe something much bigger, had guided him straight into the middle of a nightmare. A nightmare he was about to tear apart. Hammer turned on the faucet, splashed cold water on his face. And that's when he heard it. A man's voice, close, too close. The thin wall separating the men's room from the women's room made everything crystal clear. 1,500, the man said. "You heard me. She's damaged goods. Tracks on her arms." Hammer frowned. "Damaged goods? Tracks?" Another voice chimed in, amused, like this was a game. $2,000. Look at her. 14, maybe 15. Still young enough to make real money. Hammer went still. His heart stopped. He leaned in closer. Then he heard her. A girl's voice. Small. Broken. Barely holding on. "Please, please don't do this. My mom's looking for me. If you just let me call her." A loud slap cracked through the wall. "Shut up," someone barked. "You talk too much." Hammer gripped the sink so hard his knuckles turned white. Then the final voice came, cold, businesslike. 5,000. Final offer. I'll take her to Denver. Have her working by sunrise. Hammer's stomach dropped. He'd seen bad things in his life. He'd seen men do evil. But this was hell happening 10 feet away. He checked the mirror, stared into his own eyes. And he knew. If he walked out now, that girl would never see another sunrise. Hammer froze as the gas station door slammed open behind him. Heavy boots scraped against the concrete. 2 men stepped out, dragging a terrified teenage girl between them. Her wrists were tied. Her knees buckled with every step. A strip of duct tape covered her mouth. Hammer's blood turned to ice. The bigger man growled, "Keep moving. The buyer's waiting." They shoved her toward a black panel van parked near the dumpsters. The girl stumbled, almost falling, but neither man cared. One yanked her by the arm so hard she cried through the tape. Hammer's fists clenched. His heartbeat thundered in his ears. He'd seen human trafficking before. But never this close. Never this brutal. Never when he was the only thing standing between a child and hell. The smaller man checked his phone and muttered, 10 grand cash. Easy night. Hammer stepped forward. Slow. Controlled. Dangerous. Let her go, he said quietly. Both men snapped their heads toward him. The big one smirked. Back off, old man. This ain't your problem. Hammer took another step. The girl's eyes locked onto his, wide, begging, drowning in fear. And in that moment, Hammer knew one thing for certain. He wasn't walking away. Not tonight. Not ever. Hammer stepped fully into the light of the gas station. Dust and leather coating his frame. The men froze. One hand went instinctively behind a belt, probably a gun. Gentlemen, Hammer said, calm but firm. Got a minute? The leader sneered, sizing him up. Not interested in whatever you're selling, old man. Hammer's eyes flicked to the girl. Bruised. Terrified. Silent. She's not for sale, he said. Then added deliberately, how much? The girl's eyes widened in horror. Not again. Another buyer? Another monster? Her lips quivered, but Hammer held her gaze and mouthed, stay calm. The men laughed, skeptical, cocky. 10 grand. Take it or walk, the leader spat. Non-negotiable. No questions. Hammer reached into his jacket. His hands pulled out a thick stack of cash. The same 15,000 he'd withdrawn for his brother's funeral. He counted 10,000, pressed it into the leader's hand. Here's your money. No tricks. No questions. Walk away. The men exchanged glances, calculating, suspicious. They didn't know if he was a cop, another buyer, or something worse. Hammer stared at the van. Memorized every detail. The dent. The missing plate. The broken tail light. Finally, the leader grunted. She's yours. Hammer exhaled slowly. The girl's eyes searched his, uncertain, terrified. And then slowly, a glimmer of hope. Hope he intended to honor. The traffickers walked away, van doors slamming behind them. Hammer turned to the girl, who backed away, eyes wide with terror. You bought me, she whispered, voice shaking. Hammer shook his head. No. I didn't buy you. I saved you. Her lip trembled. Call the police, she said, desperation in her voice. Hammer pulled out his phone. No, she snapped, lunging. No police. They'll send me back to the group home. That's where this all started. Her panic was raw, primal, and Hammer understood instantly. This wasn't just fear of the men. It was fear of the system that had failed her. He lowered his phone and nodded. I get it, he said softly. You're safe with me. No cops. No questions. Just, away from them. For the first time since Hammer had entered the bathroom, the girl's shoulders loosened. She didn't fully trust him yet. But she could breathe. And that was the start of her freedom. Her name was Macy Rodriguez. 16 years old. She had been in foster care since she was 8, shuffled between homes, group homes, and temporary placements. Most of the adults around her weren't there to help. Some didn't care. And one, Mrs. Patterson, a supposedly trusted group home supervisor, was actively exploiting the girls. Macy had been trafficked for 3 days, moved across multiple states. Truck stops. Motel rooms. Strangers with vans. Each night, she had been forced to take drugs to stay compliant, leaving bruises and track marks on her arms. No one noticed. No one cared. At the group home, there were 17 girls under 2 adults' supervision. 17 lives, 17 stories. And Macy's nightmare was just one of many. The others had learned to disappear inside themselves, to stay quiet, to survive however they could. When Hammer appeared, she didn't trust him. Not at first. After all, hadn't every stranger been a predator at some point? Every adult? Every helper? She flinched at his touch. She recoiled from the phone in his hand. Even after the traffickers had left, the fear lingered, thick and choking. Macy's story wasn't just about one night in a gas station. It was about years of being overlooked. About the system that was supposed to protect her but had failed completely. About pain, betrayal, and the survival instincts that kept her alive. Just long enough for someone like Hammer to hear her silent plea. Hammer didn't waste a second. He pulled out his phone and called Luther, the club's lawyer, who specialized in situations like this. Human trafficking. 16-year-old. Need safe placement outside the system. ASAP, Hammer said, voice low but urgent. Within 30 minutes, 2 cars arrived. A woman stepped out, Jennifer, a social worker from a trusted advocacy group. She had experience rescuing trafficking victims and keeping them safe from both predators and the flawed foster system. Macy shrank back, eyes wide. You said you'd help, she whispered, trembling. Jennifer approached slowly, showing no threat, just calm and understanding. I am helping, Jennifer said gently. My safe house doesn't involve the police or the foster system. Just safety. Just you. Macy hesitated, glancing at Hammer. He nodded slightly, signaling that she could trust this. Jennifer rolled up her sleeve, revealing faded but visible track marks. 15 years ago, I was you, she said softly. Someone helped me. Now I help others. You are safe here. The weight of her words hit Macy like a tidal wave. She collapsed, sobbing into Jennifer's arms. Hammer watched, relief mixing with heartbreak. He had gotten her out of immediate danger, but he knew the journey ahead, healing, trust, recovery, was just beginning. For the first time, Macy allowed herself to breathe. And for the first time in years, hope crept back into her eyes. Hammer stayed with Macy until she calmed down, then gave a full statement to the police. He described every detail, the men, the bathroom, the white van, the dent on the side, the broken taillight, every word he'd overheard. Luckily, his motorcycle dash cam had captured the van leaving the gas station. A partial VIN was visible. Detectives immediately realized this could be the break they'd been chasing for 6 months. This might blow the whole ring open, one said. Within days, Mrs. Patterson and 2 complicit staff members from the group home were arrested. 17 girls testified, revealing years of abuse and trafficking. The 5 men Hammer had confronted at the gas station were also tracked down. Police used the dash cam footage, witness statements, and Hammer's testimony to secure arrests. All were sentenced to over 20 years in prison. For the first time, justice was being served. And for the first time, Macy could begin to imagine a life where she was truly free. Safe from those who had controlled and exploited her for far too long. Over the next months, Macy began the slow process of healing. Detox, therapy, and safe surroundings helped her body recover, but trust was a different story. Every adult felt like a potential threat. Every stranger a danger. Hammer visited her regularly, bringing books, stories, and lessons about motorcycles. He never pushed. He simply showed up, consistently, patiently. Slowly, Macy began to understand that he was different. He wasn't there to control her. He wasn't there to profit. He was there because he cared. One day, as they sat together polishing his bike, she asked softly, "Why motorcycles? Why do you ride?" Hammer smiled, looking at the chrome gleaming in the sun. "Freedom," he said. "You're in control. Nobody owns you. Out here, you decide your path. Your pace. Your life." Macy absorbed the words, a glimmer of understanding in her eyes. For the first time in years, she felt the stirrings of hope. A bond formed, not of blood, but of choice, respect, and protection. Hammer had become the father she never had. Macy's journey didn't end when she was rescued. It was only the beginning. Slowly, she began to reclaim her life. Her first step, learning to ride a motorcycle. At first, fear gripped her. Every twist of the throttle reminded her of the chaos she had escaped. But Hammer was patient. Step by step, he taught her to balance, to control, to feel the freedom of the open road. The first time she rode solo, the wind in her hair, the engine humming beneath her, she laughed, a sound she hadn't heard in years. "I'm actually flying," she said, eyes wide with exhilaration. She bought her own Harley, a purple Sportster covered in stickers raising awareness about trafficking. Her rides became more than freedom, they became purpose. School followed. Social work, her chosen path, became her mission. Macy began helping other victims, testifying in court, guiding girls through the nightmares she had survived. Her pain had become her power. Every rescue, every story she shared, every life she touched was a tribute to the biker who had refused to look away that night. Macy had transformed from a scared, broken girl into a strong, determined young woman. A survivor, a fighter, a hero in her own right. 7 years after that fateful night, Macy organized a run for freedom. 200 bikers from across the country rode together, engines roaring. A tribute to survivors and a statement to traffickers. We see you. We protect the innocent. Hammer stood quietly in the crowd, his leather vest dusty, hands folded. He didn't need recognition. His reward was seeing Macy stand strong, fearless, alive. Macy climbed onto the stage, her purple Harley parked behind her, stickers shining in the sunlight. Tears welled in her eyes as she addressed the crowd. 7 years ago, she began, voice trembling but steady. I was being sold in a gas station bathroom. I had given up. I thought I would die young in some hotel room. But one man, one biker, didn't look away. He paid my freedom with money meant for a funeral. He saved me. He became my father by choice, not by blood. The crowd erupted in cheers, many crying, many silent, moved beyond words. Bikers, survivors, advocates, all united. Macy's speech wasn't just a story. It was a promise. A promise that the next girl, the next victim, would see hope. That when the world turns its back, someone would always stand in the gap. Hammer looked at her, a proud, quiet smile on his face. For the first time in years, the nightmare had transformed into legacy.